All right, so for this video, we're going to be going over how to create a work drawing specifically for piece one, which is V. So to start out, we need to go to the plus sign in the bottom left-hand corner. And this time, instead of Create Part Studio, we're going to go to Create Drawing. All right, so I've been using this program for a little while, so in my all, or which ones I've been using recently for recently opened, you can see right here. So I'm just going to show you where these are located in case they're not showing up for you. So ANSI, so ANSI, we're going to use ANSI A, inch. There's also ANSI C. So the difference between these two is the size of the paper. So A is the size of a single sheet of paper. C is the size of 4 pieces of paper kind of like taped together. All right, so that's the one that we are going to use. Okay, so we're going to have that load. All right. So we can see right here, it's pulling all of our pieces that we've created already. So what I can do to select the one I actually want to make the work drawing for is click on the arrow for piece 1V, and then I can click on part 1. All right, so now the first thing is I'm going to place in my front view. So I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to click to place it. And now it's going to let me select another view to place. So I'm going to place in my top view. You can see when I move this side to side, it's no longer the top view because these two are linked together. All right. For some reason with this program, it doesn't let me put all my views in all at once. I'm not entirely sure why, but what we need to do is click back on our front view, and now we can add in our right side. So you can see this again is kind of the same thing where depending on where I move it, I can see that it links in. So I'm going to place in my right view. Next, I need to go back to my front view again and place in my isometric, which is located right here. So I click to place that in. Okay, those are the 4 views that we're going to be using. So yes, I can see that the top view and also the right side view look very similar, but they're actually different. It's one of those things where eventually you're going to get the hang of like looking at them and seeing what it is in your head. Okay, what we're going to do from here is add in our dimensions. So this is the dimension tool, so I'm going to click on dimension. I'm going to add in my height dimensions first. So this is my tallest dimension. So I'm going to add it in. I can click on the 2 corners to place it in. And then the number, if it's too small, it can go on the outside, but because we have enough room for our number, we're going to put it inside of our 2 lines. And then also we want to put it right in the center. You can see when I'm moving my mouse around, you can see it's trying to snap to the center. That's where we want to place it. Okay, another dimension and another way to place it in is we can just click on the line and then move it out. And again, you can see for this one, it kind of snaps to the center. So placing that one in. So looking at this for our height dimensions can go here, can go here, go here, and go here. So my height dimensions are actually done. So the reason why I don't have one for this piece right here is because if we have 2 minus 1 gives us 1. So therefore we don't need this dimension. And I'm just gonna press my escape key for a second just so I can move this around. So if I take this, and you can see how it moves over, see how it's the exact same height? Okay, I'm gonna put that back where that was. You can see that those, because they're lined up nicely, I don't need to put those dimensions over here for the height. So I don't need to put height dimensions there, don't need to put height dimensions there because I already have it covered. All right, so I'm going to add in my dimensions for my width. So this is my longest width dimension. Again, you can see that it's still trying to like snap to the center when I have it close. So I'm going to place that there. And then I'm going to place the next one. So again, you can click on the 2 corners if you need to, and then you can move it over. Okay. So again, with this one, we have our width here, width, and width, and I'm gonna again just hit escape just to back out of my dimension tool just so when I'm moving things it doesn't keep popping up. All right, so our width dimensions here, we can see that we have our longest dimension. We have another dimension here, but 2 minus 1 gives us 1, Therefore, we don't need to dimension this because we know what it is. All right, and then the same thing over here. If I take this and drag it up, you can see how it lines up nicely. All right, I'm going to put it back. So I don't need to dimension over here because these are nice and in line with each other. All right, I'm going to add in the depth dimension next. Okay, so if you happen to have another dimension on another part, like right over here, oop, I did not want to place that quite yet. Well, if you accidentally place it, you can just get out of the tool by hitting the escape key and then get back in and move it. So this, because I have another dimension here, try to line it up. Basically, the nicer your drawing looks, the most likely it's going to be easier to read. And the easier it is to read, then you can kind of see what you have, what you don't have, and what you need to add in. So that's why I have these lined up with each other. So for the depth, this one's a little confusing because depth can go here, it can go over here, it can go over here, or over here. But for this one, I can't really drag it and like show you how it moves because it's kind of like it goes out here, hits a 45. Ignore that the mouse is hovering over that part, but actually I'm just gonna move this aside for a second. So if this was a hand drawing, we'd have a 45-degree line right here. So our line would go out, hit that 45-degree line, and turn down. So that's how I know that I don't need to put this 1-inch dimension over here. All right, I'm gonna put that back. Okay, and then for this one drawing, for your isometric, some programs let you shade it in, but for some reason this one doesn't, so we're just gonna leave it as is. Okay, last little bit just to tidy this up since our dimensions are done is to fill in our title block. So our title, these are kind of hard to click on. I'm trying to get the center one. And actually, let me show you how to do this. So if I right click and do zoom to window, what that means is I can actually select an area and I will zoom to that area. So now I'm going to have a lot easier time clicking on it and also seeing what I'm typing. So I can double click on here and actually change it. So the title, I want to change to the title of my part. So piece 1V. And then I can click my green check mark and then my, okay, this abbreviation, you're probably looking at it being like, I don't understand that. It stands for drawing number. So if you ever see NO with a dot, that most of the time, if not all the time, means number. Typically the O is lowercase, but for this one it's all capital. All right, so I'm going to click on here. And actually, I'm just going to type in the same thing I had before. So piece 1V. All right, so typically if this was something for like industry, the drawing number might be like the part number. And then the title might be the actual name of the part that if someone was to go into a store and be like, hey, I need a part that does this, that's this size and all that stuff, that information might go there. And then the part number that you might use to index the part might be in the drawing number. So it all depends on how the company sets everything up. And then in, not title, but above it, a lot of times you'll see the company name. But for our class, we're just going to leave that blank. Okay, so we can right click, and then I'm going to do zoom to sheet, and that kind of zooms out. If you have a mouse with a scroll wheel, you can just kind of zoom in and out, but I learned how to use most of these programs on a laptop, so a lot of my shortcuts I know are from not using a traditional mouse. I learned mostly on a touchpad. All right, so that finalizes our first work drawing. Oh, and we need to name this tab. So right click on drawing one, rename. This one are actually going to change not too much. Some of the other ones are going to change a little bit more. But this is going to be drawing 1V. So before it was piece 1, and now we're going to be doing drawing 1. And then V is the name of the part. All right, so that is it for our first drawing, our first work drawing. Okay, good luck on the rest of your work.